We've all heard it. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Let's be real. For most of us, it feels like a fairy tale. You do everything you're supposed to. You start investing, you pick a fund, and then you wait. And it feels like your account is growing at a snail's pace. That initial growth is so small, it feels like a rounding error. It's like staring at a pot of water waiting for it to boil, one agonizing minute at a time. I was stuck in that spot for years, constantly refreshing my account just to see a few extra dollars. And I kept wondering, what am I missing? I saw all the charts showing epic hockey stick growth. I heard the stories of people building fortunes, but I couldn't connect those stories to the single digit growth I was seeing in my own account. Where was the explosion? Where was the so-called magic? Well, it turns out that magic isn't unlocked in some secret stock pick or a crazy Wall Street secret. It's not about just being in the market. It's about following three dead simple, non-negotiable rules. These are the rules I followed to finally see that exponential growth for myself. I'm giving you the exact three-step playbook. The first rule, and the absolute bedrock of this whole thing, is consistency. Think of it as the engine for your wealth building machine. So many people get obsessed with trying to time the market, buying at the perfect dip. But here's a saying that's repeated for a reason. Time in the market almost always beats timing the market. Consistency just means you invest the same amount of money on a regular schedule, whether the market's soaring, crashing, or shuffling sideways. The fancy term is dollar cost averaging, or DCA, a concept championed by legendary investor Benjamin Graham. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. By investing the same dollar amount every month, when shares are high, it buys fewer shares. But when the market tanks and everyone is panicking, it scoops up way more shares on sale. Over the long haul, this smooths out the purchase price of your shares and lowers the average cost. But more importantly, it takes the emotion out of investing. It takes a gut-wrenching, anxiety-fueled decision and turns it into a boring, automatic habit. And in wealth building, boring is beautiful. This is the discipline that separates amateurs from professionals. This is where most people stumble. They get hyped when the market's hot and they invest a lump sum. And then they get scared when the market dips and they stop investing, which is precisely when they need to be buying. Dollar cost averaging is your shield against your own worst enemy, your feelings. So how do you do this? You automate it. This is the key. Set up an automatic transfer from your bank account to your investing account the day after you get paid. It doesn't matter if it's $50, $500, or $5,000. That's less important than making it an unbreakable habit. Treat it like your rent or your mortgage. It is a bill that has to be paid. No excuses. If you have a 401k, you're already doing this. A piece of your paycheck is getting invested automatically. That's dollar cost averaging in its natural habitat. Your job is to take that same simple logic and apply it to the rest of investing. Automate it, make it consistent, and you just built the engine that will drive your growth for decades. Okay, so your consistency engine is now running. Now it just needs fuel. That brings us to rule number 2, which is reinvestment. This is what lights the fuse on that snowball effect. Compounding only works its magic if your earnings are immediately reinvested so that they can earn their own earnings. If you skim profits off the top, the snowball stops rolling and starts to melt. So let's get specific. Stocks or funds often pay out a share of their profits to you. This is called dividends. Bonds, you'll receive interest payments. Reinvestment means instead of that cash hitting your account for you to spend, it automatically buys more shares of the exact same investment. You'll see an acronym for this, DRIP, which stands for Dividend Reinvestment Plan. It's a standard feature on most major brokerage platforms, and you can usually turn it on with just one click. And when you do, any dividends you receive automatically get invested into more shares of the exact same fund, often commission-free and even in tiny fractions. Here's why that's a game changer. Imagine you own 100 shares of a stock and it pays a dividend. Without reinvesting, you have a little bit of cash. It's nice, but it's not going to change your life. With drip turned on, that cash might automatically buy you another share. Now you own 101 shares. So the next time dividends are paid, you're not getting paid on 100 shares. You're getting paid on 101 shares. That slightly bigger dividend now buys even more shares. At first glance, it feels completely insignificant. Your first reinvestment may only buy a tiny fraction of a share, but over 10, 20, or 30 years, this process starts to feed on itself. Your growing pile of shares starts to generate bigger and bigger dividend, which in turn buy even more shares at a faster rate. This is the exponential curve in action. Your money isn't just making money anymore. Your money's money is making money. And pulling that money out, that's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Taking dividends feels like a reward, but it's a trap. It robs your future self of explosive growth that only comes from uninterrupted compounding. The discipline here is to choose to feed the fire. Every dividend, no matter how tiny, is another log on it. Your only job is to never let it go out. Go to your brokerage account settings and find where it says dividends and capital gains, and make sure you click reinvest. It's the single most powerful move you can make to fuel your compounding machine. So you've got your engine of consistency and your fuel of reinvestment, but there's one final irreplaceable ingredient: time. Time is the ultimate multiplier. It's the one thing you don't have control over, but has the most control over your results. The longer your money works for you, the more powerful compounding becomes. Here's the thing: our brains aren't wired to understand exponential growth. We think in straight lines. We think if we invest for 10 years, then investing 20 years would yield double the results. That's not how this works. Let's use the classic example of two investors to show what I mean. Meet two friends, Alex and Ben. Alex starts investing at 25, and she's a very disciplined investor and invests $5,000 every year, but only for 10 years. At age 35, she stops investing completely. Her total out-of-pocket investments reach $50,000. After that, she'd never invest another penny. She just lets it grow. Ben, on the other hand, procrastinates. He starts investing at age 35, the exact same year Alex stops. He also invests $5,000 a year, but he keeps going. He invests for 30 years till age 65. His total investment is $150,000, 3 times what Alex invested. So who has more money at age 65? Let's assume a 7% annual return just for the sake of the example. Alex, who started early but invested way less than Ben, ends up with $602,000. Ben, who started later but invested 3 times as much money as Alex, ends up with only $540,000. Alex is ahead of Ben by nearly $60,000, even though she invested $100,000 less than he did. How is that possible? It comes down to that extra 10 years for compounding to work its magic. Alex's money had a whole extra decade to compound, and that extra time ended up being way more powerful than Ben's extra cash. Those early years where compounding feels insignificant and hardly noticeable is actually the most important. That's where you're building the foundation of your snowball. Toward the end of your journey, the money your investments earn will far outweigh what you're personally contributing. That's the payoff. This is why the biggest mistake in investing isn't picking the wrong stock, it's waiting on the sidelines. It's thinking, I'll start when I earn more, or I'll get to it when I'm older. But when you wait, you're giving up your most powerful ally. A 10-year delay can literally cut your net worth in half. The only antidote here is patience. You have to see time not as a waiting game, but as an active ingredient working for you 24/7. Ignore the daily market noise, the crashes, and the crazy rallies. Just play the long game. Commit to a 20 or 30-year horizon and let time do the heavy lifting for you. So that's it. The 3 rules that finally make the magic of compounding real. Consistency. Automate your investing so it happens like clockwork. Reinvestment. Put your earnings back to work automatically so they fuel the fire. Time. Give your money the decades it needs to grow exponentially. This isn't about being genius or getting lucky. It's about discipline. It's about building a simple system and then having the patience to leave it alone and let it work. This is how you turn small, regular decisions into life-changing wealth. This is how you build a future where your money works for you, not the other way around. The magic of compounding isn't a myth. It's a mathematical fact, and it's available to anyone willing to follow the rules. So don't wait. Start today. Set up your automatic investments. Turn on reinvestment and commit to the journey. Your future self is counting on it. If you found this video helpful, hitting the like button really helps. And subscribe for more simple, no-nonsense guides to building wealth. Thank you for watching.